Hello YouTube and welcome to my new toy review. This time we are going to take a look at Generation 1 Astrotrain. I think Astrotrain has already been reviewed by a lot of reviewers, so in this video I want to focus on the reasons why I hate this figure. So let's just get started. Reason number 1. First of all, he's really small. To give you a comparison, here you can see him next to Optimus Prime, and here's a standard sized Action Master figure next to him. You can see he's barely a little bit taller than him. And here's a decent sized triple changer, double dealer. You can see how he just towers over Astrotrain. So poor little Astrotrain is not really well represented in his toy form, because in the animation he was much taller actually.
Get this straight. I am the Decepticon leader.
Reason number 2 is the short arms. You can kind of see how his arms are really short compared to his body. He's very disproportionate in that. Actually, his arms barely can reach over his chest, so he can barely hold his weapon in front of him when his chest wings are opened like that, because first of all because the wings get in the way, but second of all because his arms just barely reach a little bit longer than his chest. You can actually see some promo images online that feature him with a different color scheme, but also feature him with extendable arms, and I think he really needs that. And you can kind of see how his arm is cut at the shoulder, so it almost looks like it could expand, but it can't. So unfortunately that feature was scratched from the actual release of the toy, and we are left with the stumpy arms for Astrotrain. Reason number 3. The gaping hole in his body. Yeah, you can actually see through all the way to the wings right here, so I'm really not a big fan of that hole being there, and of course you need it to fold away the wings in train mode, but I don't think it looks good at all. Reason number 4. The titties. If you fold away his chest wings, you're left with a robot that looks suspiciously like he has tits. These two parts of his anatomy are just not right for me. Reason number 5. The whole robot is quite flimsy. Alright, you can argue that it's probably because this is a vintage toy and it's been played with. Yeah, fair enough. But still, the arms can get loose very easily on this figure. Also, the legs can collapse very easily, and then you're left with a crookedly standing figure. And what's worst is that it's really hard to fix the legs, because you actually need to take the whole thing apart, and it's secured with three screws, but all of the screws are inside the leg and they are really hard to reach, so it's really hard to take them apart. And yes, you can use some kind of paint or nail polish to make this joint a little bit stiffer so that it won't collapse, and I actually did it, so mine can stand sort of well, but still it could be really a pain in the ass to fix. Also, this engine part right here tends to be quite flimsy and just flop around, and well, yeah, you can end up with a figure that looks like this on your shelf, and it's really not impressive. So let's continue with the alt modes. First, let's take a look at the train engine mode. Reason number 6. The train alt mode is useless. Because let's face it, for a train engine you will always need train tracks. And yes, Earth has train tracks at some places. But to have a vehicle mode that requires the additional railway system and tracks to be around is sort of stupid and useless, because most of the times when you're a space fighting robot you will probably be in situations where you won't find any tracks to run on. Yeah, it's fortunate that we have tracks here on Earth, and probably maybe they had tracks on Cybertron too, but anywhere where he wanted to go, he had the tracks in front of him to run on. That's kind of unbelievable for me. Reason number 7. Fake wheels. As you can see, the train mode has 4 fake wheels and 2 real ones. And the real ones are not the best either. They are just hard plastic wheels, so they don't really roll that well. I guess it rolls okay, but it's really nothing special like the robots that came with rubber tires. This is not on par with that. And also these wheels look just stupid from looking at it from the front. It looks like they are just sort of training wheels or something like that. So yeah, I really hate the fake wheels on this. Reason number 8. The way the transformation works for the alt modes, it's basically just flipping panels on and off. And because of that, these panels tend to get flimsy too. So you will end up with a train that looks like this, because this panel just flips open like that, and I really hate that. So it might seem that I'm hating on this figure a lot, and you might ask, well, why do you even have it if you hate it so much? No, I don't hate this figure. I actually sort of like this figure, even though he's got a lot of negative attributes that I just wanted to point out for you. So now that we are done with it, let's see why I like this figure. Reason number 1. I absolutely love the space shuttle mode. I think this is his best alt mode by far, and I think it looks nice. It's really well proportioned. It's nicely built, and I think that's the biggest win of the whole figure. Yes, he still doesn't roll that well, but it's not too bad, and it's a flying mode anyway, so well, yeah, I'm not really missing better quality wheels for this mode at all. Reason number 2. I like the way the 2 alt modes have very different color scheme. The train mode had more darker colors with the purple and black and no white showing, and in the space shuttle mode he's basically, well, evenly proportioned between the purple, the white and the black parts, and in robot mode he's basically all white. And I love how these color differences make the 3 modes very distinctively different, and I think that's just a great thing to do with a triple changer. Reason number 3. I like the fact that the only accessory he comes with is this gun, and I sort of like the gun being so big. You could argue that it is disproportionate for the body size, having such a big gun, but yeah, who cares? Having a big gun is badass, so I like the big gun too. But yeah, I like the fact that this is the only accessory he comes with, mainly because it's sort of easy to pick this figure up complete. You don't have to look for a little missiles missing or sword missing or whatever else you get with all the other triple changers. Reason number 4. I also like the fact that the gun is not a vital part of any of the alt modes. Like for example, the sword of Springer becomes the blades of the helicopter. So if you're missing the sword, you're really screwed because you can't build a decent helicopter in alt mode. So yeah, the big gun is not part of any of the alt modes, and I'm really happy for that. Reason number 5. I love the amount of diecast that's been used with this figure. Basically the whole black parts you see here is diecast. And as you can see, it's really a big part of the figure. It continues down here in engine mode. And that gives the whole thing a really nice heft. It's a really heavy figure. It's like holding a big Matchbox car in your hand or something like that. It really feels good, and also because the die-cast parts of the figure are basically the legs in robot mode, the whole figure stands really firmly and well. Reason number 6. I actually really like the color scheme. I know I talked about colors before, but that was the distinct colors between the alt modes. Right now I mean that this guy has a different color scheme going on in the cartoon. Basically everything you see here that's white, in the cartoon that's gray. And to tell you the truth, I actually prefer the toy color scheme better than the cartoon one. I don't know why, I just really like this white, purple and black combination. I think it looks really awesome. It kind of makes him look like the little brother of Apeface, because they have the same color scheme going on. But maybe that's the reason why I like both of these figures. I really like this color scheme. Reason number 7. I know this has not much to do with the toy itself, but I like the fact that he was very well featured in the Generation 1 cartoon. I mean, he was the go-to guy who was basically almost in every episode after the Triple Changers popped up in the cartoon, and that's mainly because he was the main transport for the Decepticons when they were flying through space. And let's not forget the iconic scene from the 86 Transformers the movie when Starscream throws Megatron out of Astrotrain.
Oh, how it pains me to do this.
Wait, I still function.
Wanna bet?
So I guess having all the Decepticons inside him, including Devastator, was a little bit too heavy for Astrotrain. And that's another weird thing to think about, that in robot mode he's basically the same size as Megatron or the other Decepticons, but in his space shuttle mode everybody fits inside him, so he grows, I don't know how many times his robot size. When he changes to space shuttle mode, he can basically fit the whole Devastator inside him. So that always was sort of weird for me, even as a kid. It kind of bothered me how that works. But I guess that kind of lack of logic was always present in the Transformers universe, so it's not making the toy version any less cool. But he could certainly be a little bit bigger in toy form, that's for sure. So thank you for watching this review. I think I listed as many positive things as negative about this figure. As a final verdict, I would say I definitely like this figure. He's not my favorite Decepticon by far, but I quite like him. I think there are much worse figures than this one. And I think him being a triple changer adds a lot of play value. That's definitely true, even though I'm not really a big fan of the train mode. There are definitely worse triple changers than him, and I'm looking at Broadside here. I think that's the worst robot that I've ever seen, but I don't have that one for obvious reasons, because I just hate that figure. So compared to that one, this figure is actually not that bad. And as I said, I think it has just as many positive qualities than the negatives that I listed. So stay tuned for more reviews coming up. Take care and bye bye.